What do you mean? That if all the things you guys say, that if men and women are doing these more traditional things and that men are dating all these 19-year-olds that are virgins that aren't educated, that all of a sudden that's going to be really great. A lot of the stuff you guys say, like if all of that starts to actually play out in the data, if we're seeing this great increase in hypergamy where all of a sudden people aren't marrying people at the same...
I never said don't get girls that aren't educated.
It's not an increase of hypergamy.
Like, I never said that.
Go ahead, sorry.
What I said is that it's okay for a woman to be educated. It's just that men don't necessarily care for as much as women tend to think, and we don't necessarily care about their career as much. Now
should you?
Should you?
Should you care?
It shouldn't be the main factor. It shouldn't be like a deal breaker if woman's educated or not.
Well, I have a question then, because IQ is highly heritable, right? And children that are born, maternal education is one of the greatest factors in childhood development.
But not in IQ. It doesn't develop IQ.
No, but IQ is also highly high. I agree, but like for instance, like it depends what level of education, right? Like I scored in the top 2% on the LSAT. Like I've never taken an IQ test, but like IQ is highly heritable. And even if we're just looking at maternal education, children born to parents that are mothers that are educated score way higher proficiency in math, science, etc.
Because they have higher IQ. It's not the other way around. It's not like my Harvard degree didn't make my children smarter. It's like I had a higher IQ, which got me
So then shouldn't you, if you're shouldn't you be selecting for that if you want your children?
Sure. But that's not what you asked though. You said should you be, and the thing is, our ability to be attracted to a certain thing is not our choice, because attraction isn't a choice, because our attraction mechanisms are based in 178 million years of mammalian evolution, 3 million years of hominid evolution, and 200,000 years of Homo sapien evolution.
I get it, but my point is that if you're doing a show where you're giving advice to men, I think good advice would be find a woman who's smart and is college educated, because it's going to be better for your kids. If you're just going to say you like what you like, then what the fuck is the point of the show? The point of the show is we're giving men advice on who makes a good partner, what to look for, self-improvement,
Bitch, you show your titties on Instagram. And
that's not an argument. That's not a good argument.
Not a good example.
Here's the thing.
I'm not talking about me.
You're dismissing, and I've noticed this, you're dismissing an enormous amount of what we talk on this podcast, and you're generalizing things that aren't necessarily even true. So that's fine. You're going off of stereotypes, but you're missing an enormous amount of what we teach on the pod for guys to be successful.
Your advice is dog shit, by the way.
Dog shit.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Guys, don't fucking attack her personally, man.
Bro, I don't go fuck, man.
Yeah. Come on, man. Shut up.
Yeah. What I wanted to say before is that like there are studies that do showcase that men do care a certain level about education because of that exact reason. Because you can talk about mammalian evolution, and a lot of it is not just like being able to produce, but making sure that your kids can thrive and survive. Because if your kid basically reproduces and dies in 2 seconds,
for sure. But the thing is, the heritability of education, of IQ, is not something we even knew 50 years ago. Yeah. So that doesn't fit in evolution. But my point is, I also don't need to be excessively intelligent to replicate. So from a genetic, now, should I care? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not saying I shouldn't. What I'm saying is that doesn't make my wiener harder. No. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you, but you shouldn't just go by what makes your wiener harder.
For sure.
Okay.
All right. What did you have to say?
I was sorry. Okay. I was gonna say that just because like you don't necessarily like know it consciously doesn't mean that there aren't like subconscious factors that influence it, right? So for example, like let's say virality, like a person being able to be like sexually active to begin with, it might not be like a factor that like we are able to see at firsthand, but then like throughout interactions or whatever, you're able to gain more of a consciousness for it. And I guess what I'm trying to say overall is that like, yes, education matters. I think education, like being able to talk to someone is a way that intelligence shows. That does affect like attraction. And then on top of that, like I think the way that human society has been evolving, it's been evolving to not just have many children, but to have maybe fewer children, but children that thrive, children that are doing better, children that are not like dying in the fields, children that are actually like able to gain like higher and higher statuses. So I think that's why you've like seen a shift in like lower fertility that isn't necessarily bad. Okay, I'm done.
I have something to say.
All right, what did you have to say?
I forgot what I was going to say because it's like been like half an hour. But I just want to say that men and women both have, standards. And, if you don't apply to some standards, then you'll have someone that will like apply to your standards. So
if you're a female, yeah.
Okay.
It goes both ways though.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
For women are way more selective than men are.
Yeah, but men are selective too.
Not nearly as selective as women.
How do you
like know? Not even close.
Do you know every single woman in the world?
What?
Women are way more selective. That's
just biology.
So
like
biology.
If you take the most, let's say the most selective guy, he's still not going to be as selective as the most promiscuous woman.
Can you do that now?
What do you mean?
Like, can you select the most selective guy and compare that now as a fact.
Okay, how many guys do you reject that talk to you? If 100 guys talk to you, how many do you actually sleep with? Maybe 1, 2?
You're somehow trying to pretend that you're not selective in order to make your point, but you are selective. You probably reject 99% of the men who talk to you.
It's part of our biology.
And men don't reject 99% of the women they talk to. That's what he's saying. Inherently, you know this to be true. And again, that's the reason why you have it's a parental investment hypothesis in evolutionary psychology. You have the larger sex cell, therefore you're supposed to be pickier.
But that's not something to be proud of.
We haven't married children for 9 months, right now. And you're saying being selective is not something to be proud of.
Real quick, I'm just curious. One last thing. Do you
if you're gonna fuck every single girl you see on the street,
you should fuck only guys that you want to have a baby with.
It doesn't matter what being proud of. Men are just less selective than women.
Wait, are you saying it's not women shouldn't be proud that they're selective, or you're saying that men shouldn't be proud?
I said men shouldn't be proud if they're gonna sleep with every single woman on the street.
Are you a man?
Yeah, that's what's gonna. How long have you been a woman? How do you know what women want?
I have one thing to say. Women smash who they want to, men smash who they can. And that's something that's always kind of been like...
And here's the other thing, too. We just displayed this earlier with you talking about it and then you as well. A man's sexual past has almost zero influence on his attractive level. As a matter of fact, I would argue the more women he's had sex with, the more attractive he is. Yeah. So for women, it's the other way around. So like you're saying, you should be more selective. Well, the reality is the more women I have sex with, the more attractive I'm going to be to other women.
Hold on. You had
which is kind of part of hypergamy.
Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to say more so touching on the education of women. Like, from what I remember, respectfully speaking, in history, just as an example, like in textbooks, you read that the husband is out working and doing what he has to do while the woman stays home and is watching the kids or doing whatever. I feel as though having an education is probably a plus, but it's not a deal breaker. So that's where, in my opinion, like women don't have to have a career or education. Like if you find someone and you're lucky enough to be taken care of, then you don't have to do what the men are required to do.
The surveys that show with working women, 83% of them say that they would rather have spent more time in the home raising a child than working.
Right.
Oh, I have a question real quick for you. I don't want to disrupt the whole thing here. But sexy sons hypothesis and mate choice copying. Do you believe in that?
Can you explain?
Sexy sons hypothesis is the concept where women see men with attractive traits and want their children to have those attractive traits, so they choose those men with attractive traits: broad shoulders, hip to shoulder to waist ratio, signs of masculinity. Do you understand?
I think women are attracted to those, but I think the number one predictor of who you're going to end up with tends to be who you're around.
For sure. So, but then also mate choice copying. As women see men that other women choose, they find those men more attractive.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I can't.
You should just look that up. So the idea is they show this amongst several vertebrates, where if you take, and especially amongst Homo sapiens, other primates too, even rats, when you put women around the male, other women find that male to be attractive.
They did this with chimpanzees.
Yes.
They literally, and chimpanzees are the closest to human beings. They had a male chimpanzee go to try to talk to some female, try to mate. They didn't want him, but when he had a female chimpanzee with him, the other female chimpanzees